So
feeling
I got a
good.
few questions for you anyway, because I get confused a lot, and maybe everybody else get confused too with the verbiage, right? So
Okay.
small batch, bottle and bond. I understand
Hmm.
what bottle and bond mean, but small batch, bottle and bond, single barrel. Can you kind of lay that out for us so we'll have a clearer mind of what we're picking for, since that's your whole stitch and your whole goal.
Oh yeah. So there, what you have to understand when it comes to bourbon in particular is that there is marketing terms and there is legal terms. Now, the legal terms are set by the TTB, the Trade and Tobacco Bureau. They're the one where if you drink a whiskey and you think something is wrong with it, they're the law when it comes to whiskey. They set the rules and regulation that has to do with anything that is produced as spirit in America. Now, there is marketing terms. That means the TTB allow you to market something, but doesn't necessarily mean that that's a legal thing. So I wanted to make those two difference.
Yeah.
Small batch is a marketing a term. It is not a legal term. There's
Okay.
no legal definition for small batch. When someone is saying I'm making a small batch, all they're saying, according to what you hear from most distillers, is they took 10 to 15% of the barrel they produce from one distillation to bash together because they felt like those barrels that distillation went in have a unison of flavor. So they bring it together to give you kind of that special flavor out of the whole set. Let's say somebody did 50 barrel when they distill their spirit. And now they took 10%, that's 5 barrel, and they go, these 5 barrel taste so unique in their own. I'm gonna blend them together and I'm gonna make a small batch. That doesn't mean it's legal because if we go 10 to 15%, what if somebody's running a bigger distillery and they got 5,000?
Yeah.
That means that's 500 barrel that they can call a small batch as well.
All right. So it doesn't
So
matter. It doesn't matter about the number in the small batch. It's just
correct.
whatever you
It's
want to say.
exactly, it's just them trying to tell you that we took a smaller portion of the mass of our barrels to make a batch for y'all to enjoy. Perfect example, Elijah Craig small batch.
Okay.
Elijah Craig small batch, Heaven Hill distill over what 500,000 barrels a year. So in no way when you say small batch, that's gonna be over 50,000 barrels.
Yeah. But so you can't expect the same taste just because it says small batch. It can taste similar, but you might be missing.
Actually, usually the small batch all have the same uniformity.
Oh,
Okay,
okay.
so because they're blending it together to kind of give you that one kind of flavor that you're looking for. So that's where you sit.
All
So
right.
ain't nothing legal about it. Anything can be small batch. You and I can make a small batch, and there's no requirement legally to do that.
So it has to be 2 barrels or more to be small batch, because
It
if it's
doesn't.
1 barrel, it'll be
It
single.
could be. It could be 1.5 barrel, and you can call it
Oh,
small.
okay. All right. All right. I got you.
So actually, the other two expression that you said are legal definition to them. There is actually I even lied. Single barrel is also not a
Oh.
legal definition. There's no such definition as single barrel. So one day I came on TikTok and I said single barrel doesn't mean shit, and I walked away. And people lost their mind, right? They're like, "Oh, why are you saying single barrel doesn't mean shit?" Single barrel is a contract between you and the distiller, or you and the person in the brick house. There's no legal definition for single barrel.
All right.
What it means is that you trust me or the person filling that bottle that they only use one barrel to
Oh
create a
man.
single barrel.
Yeah, I don't like that. I
But
don't
that's
like.
what I'm telling you.
I don't like that at all.
Yeah, everybody goes single barrel, but think about it. Really think about it. Blanton's is a single barrel.
Yeah, that's what I like Blanton's too. So,
But do you think that that's just one barrel?
well, the way they selling it now and the way how popular it is, I'm on the other side of things. I'm thinking like, man, I don't know if it's 1 barrel, but they
So
they do good work too. I heard at Buffalo Trace, so I don't know. I don't know.
Buffalo Trace. There's only two school of Buffalo Trace. You either love them or hate them. There's no such thing as just being a middleman for Buffalo Trace. He is a very divided place. But if you think about single barrel doesn't mean anything. It's not legal. So now, if you see single barrel pick, then you're like, okay, is a single barrel, and it was also a barrel pick by whom? Now you have a person you trusting to actually know that they picked that barrel. That means they went, they saw, they picked, they signed, and the barrel went through the processing limited to a number of bottles.
I got it now. So I understand what you're talking about now because I used to wonder, like, I got this foolproof Wellers. And I used to wonder why they always want the ones like even the Eagle Rare, why everybody always want the ones with the sticker on there. The
Mhm.
sticker means it's legit single barrel, I guess, right?
That was
And
picked by somebody specific.
if you trust that charity or that store or all right.
Exactly.
Hey,
Exactly.
you opening up my eyes now, brother.
So so that's why when I do my single barrels, I tell people all the time, it's not about where I'm picking the barrel. It's about you trusting my judgment, my palate, and the team of people I brought in to select this specific barrel for you.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about one of my single barrel pick today because you have in front of you.
All right.
Um, and that lucky seven
Yeah.
that you have there, that's a single barrel. That's a single barrel pick, 14 years old, picked between me and my fiance. I call
Okay.
it lucky. I'm in love with my best friend. That's what we that's what we call that one.
All right. So I'm gonna let you go to Bottle and Bond and explain because
So
I'm ready to
the
dig into
only
this right now
legal
because you
term
got me excited, bro.
I know, the only legal term that we have is the Bottle and Bond Act. So that is a legal act that was set by Congress to protect consumer against bad whiskey making because at the end of the day, bourbon or whiskey is a food product.
Yeah.
That's what most people don't know. It falls in the food category because you take grains, you mash them, you distill them to make whiskey. It is a food product.
All right.
So that was one of the first consumer protection act to protect people because it used to be people will make shine, then they add coloring, then they add nails, then they add a bunch of stuff in there to actually make it look like bourbon and bootleg it and sell it. And
Yeah.
people were getting sick, people were dying, and at the end, it was affecting companies' work. Your worker goes to work today, come back the next day, say he died in the bathroom. So they had to do something about it. But the person that pushed that act is Colonel Edward
EH.
Haynes Taylor.
All right. So yeah, that's what's up. That's what's up.
So
And
so that person pushed it to Congress to make sure that we protect consumers. One of it has to respect to be bottled and bond. It has to respect four rules. The whiskey has to be aged. It used to be in the past in a bonded warehouse for a minimum of 4 years.
all right.
Minimum. So bottle and bond can be more than 4 years. I heard somebody say, "Oh, if it's 6 years, not bottle and bond." No, it could be 20 years. It could
That's
still be
like kind of
bottle and
like
bond.
XO cognac got to be 10 years or
Correct.
10 years or longer.
Right. So 4 years minimum. Number two, it can only be bottled at 50% ABV or 100 proof. It
Oh,
cannot be more than that. It has to be absolutely 50% ABV or 100 proof.
okay.
Number three, the distillate can only come from one distilling season. So every distillery have a distilling season. So, same as the temperature. So you have the fall distilling season, you have the summer distilling season. You can't take one distillate from a season and
And
mix it
mix.
with another one.
All right.
You can't have one distilling season.
That's a lot of
And
pressure back in the day to
yeah,
put that on
oh no,
people.
Back in the day, the taxman was standing by the door and checking on the strip. So if you look on your Taylor,
Yeah,
you
I
see
got.
this.
Yeah,
You see this strip right here.
yeah,
That's a tax strip.
yeah. I got a few of those on the old cognacs that I have.
Correct.
So
So those tax strips are very important because that's how the taxmen used to collect their money on the barrel of whiskey that you put in. So they can actually, the reason why they were called bonded house is because the bondsman and the taxman will come and seal the place with a specific bond strip so no one can get in there.
so they just sealed it and set it there for 4 years
It got to
or
be 4 years.
greater. Dang, man. Like you
So
opening up my eyes. That's why I like that is probably the reason I always like everything bottle and bond. I would grab anything bottle and bond and go with that over just trying something that I hear from somebody now. Because I was trying to figure out my palate, trying to figure out these different things. Now I like Buffalo Trace products and a lot of them hit real good for me. But all the EH Taylor say bottle and bond. So I like the longer age, like stuff that got 10-year statement. What about that? Can it have to have the 10 year? Is that
let me
legal?
finish the fourth rule before we
All right,
move
go ahead.
into
Go ahead.
that.
I'm sorry.
The fourth rule is it can only come from one distillery.
Yeah,
So one distillery, so it's four rules to be bottled and bond. One distillery, one distilling season,
yeah.
50% ABV, age a minimum of 4 years. That is the bottle and bond.
That's dope, boy. You educated me today.
So now age. Age is also another divisive fact, right? Because when do you really know the bourbon is ready? You don't.
You gotta taste it.
Now remember, bourbon goes in a barrel, barrel is sitting around. It could be depending on the temperature, the pressure, the rick house, where it is, the season affecting it. It could be 4 years, could be 5 years, could be 10 years. Proof is in Scotland, they do not touch their whiskey till it's at least past 7, 8, 9, almost 10 years before they start even considering it.
Yeah.
Because the temperature there is average about 45 degrees during the year. So it's so cold, the barrel doesn't have time to do the same thing that it does in America. In America, you go to Kentucky, you go to Tennessee, you go those places where it's hot till 100 and some degrees. Have you ever been into a rick house in the
Nah,
summer?
I haven't been in there though. But
Oh my God.
you clearing something up for Scotch for me. That's why you get those big old 12-year, 15-year,
Correct.
20-year dates.
Correct. Because he needs time to be able to be produced. Because you go into a rick house. I remember I went to Starlight. It was 92 degrees outside. When I walk into that rick house, temperature was 120.
Sheesh.
Right?
Yeah.
So now what's happening there is that the wood, because of that temperature, is expanding, right? It's expanding. That heat is expanding the wood. What happened during today? Temperature dropped to 30 some degrees here, which I think 2 weeks ago I was in Kentucky, 40 some degrees. Now the wood is literally
Contracting.
retracting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now all the juice that went into that wood is not coming out into the liquid.
Yeah. I got you. Oh
So
man.
the more you see up down temperature, the more flavor you adding into that bourbon.
So that's why they like Kentucky, Tennessee area because it gets hot and cold really
Indiana,
good.
so they call it the Old West, right? You got Indiana, you got Kentucky, you got Tennessee, right? All those three states right there have crazy temperature fluctuations. So
Yeah.
it's a good thing
Because
for 'em.